Hi, this is Pim from Smart Diabetics Academy. In today's video, I will show you how to reverse your diabetes permanently. Okay, let's get this straight. Type 2 diabetes is, for the most part, I say, a metabolic disease, which means that you cannot metabolize carbohydrates. That is the biggest problem here. Or you cannot do it properly to the same extent as a non-diabetic person. So whenever you have a metabolic disease which prevents you from metabolizing a specific nutrient, you are generally recommended to remove it from your diet as best as you can. So why don't we do this with carbohydrates for diabetics? It beats me, but the underlying reason most likely lies in the hypothesis that fat is causing heart disease, and now it doesn't really matter how many times the scientists have proven that this hypothesis is false. We're so stuck in what we do, and it's really becoming increasingly harder and harder to change any recommendations that don't involve a financial benefit for someone. Anyhow, back to how to reverse diabetes. So obviously, the most effective thing that you can do is remove as many carbohydrates as possible. And the easiest way to start doing this is simply to stop eating processed foods, because you don't know what they put in there, and there are always a lot of carbs in combination with a lot of unhealthy fats, etc. And it's just a recipe for disaster, basically. So if you make everything that you eat from scratch yourself, you know exactly what's in there. Or if you can, you just make sure that whatever it is that you're eating is made based of whole foods. You're going to do better than most diabetics. Unfortunately, many diabetics who focus on eating whole foods are focusing on the wrong type of whole foods. So they try to incorporate as many beans and legumes and vegetables as possible because they have been told that meat is bad for them and vegetables and beans are great. Okay, but these foods are way too high in carbohydrates. So if you instead focus on foods that contain as little carbs as possible, and make sure that you never eat more than 10 grams of carbs each meal, you will do just fine. I can promise you that. I also want to tell you a couple of things about meat. So I'm not going to go on a tangent here, but there are a few things that you do, if you don't already know that, you need to know. So meat contains almost all the nutrients that you need, depending on the source, etc., and how you cook it. If it comes from a good source, if it's grass-fed or if it's fish, wild-caught fish, the fat in the meat will actually be anti-inflammatory. So it will be very beneficial for you. And that will help you to heal from your diabetes and help you clear that brain fog that you most likely have, help your nerves in case you have something like neuropathy, you know, the tingling in your fingers and your toes, etc. It will help to heal all of that. So now, here's another secret. We used to have a fat profile in our bodies that was almost entirely saturated. Only a few percent of our cells or cell membranes, or the fat in our bodies in the cell membranes, and that was stored, was unsaturated. The rest was saturated. Nowadays, some people who do consume a lot of unsaturated and polyunsaturated heart-healthy oils can have roughly 30% of unsaturated fat in their fat deposits and in their cell membranes. And this is quite dangerous. It's very, very dangerous business, in fact, and it takes time to correct. So only when your cells die, you can pretty much change the fatty acid profile in their membranes. It's going to be very hard to change it. It takes several years. But what is happening is that when you have unsaturated fats in your body, they are much more prone to oxidation, which leads to inflammation. And chronic inflammation is at the root of all modern diseases. So not just diabetes. I mean, literally all modern diseases. Inflammation has been implicated in cancer and in autoimmune diseases, whatever you just name it. And if you Google inflammation and any modern disease, you will find research on that topic. So if you haven't cut out all vegetable oils from your diet, it's time for you to do that. That's also very, very important. And just to make it clear, when you need, or what you need to do to be able to reverse your diabetes permanently, is literally sorting out your diet first, because your diet is the most important thing. There are other things like you need to get your sleep under control, you need to get your stress under control, etc. But if your diet is crap, none of that really matters. It will just make it worse. But if your diet isn't on point, you don't have a base to stand on, you don't have a starting point. So you need to start with your diet first by cutting out the carbohydrates as much as possible, maximum 10 grams of carbs per meal, per main meal, preferably no snacking, and if you do, try to make it zero carb if you can. And start eating good fats instead of the highly inflammatory vegetable oils that we have been told are good for us, because they are not. They are really dangerous. So I hope that this makes sense to you. If you have any questions with regards to these recommendations, please do leave a comment and I will try to answer it as best as I can. And also, if you like the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as well, so that you won't miss any of my future videos that are coming out very soon. So I will see you in the next video.